Hey guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today's gonna be a little funny, dramatic story time about my recent trip to Italy. My sister actually visited me from Canada, and while she was here, we figured we would take advantage of the cheaper flights and head on over to Bari. And we were very excited for this Instagrammable turquoise water vacation. And you know, it just didn't quite go as planned, and so that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Before we get into it, I just want to put a little disclaimer that this is not meant to be offensive to anyone. This is not meant to be insulting to Italians or Italian culture. Like, not at all. I would like to acknowledge that my sister and I traveled to this country. We do not speak Italian. Not a lot of preparation went into this trip. Everything was just, you know, super last minute and chaotic. So please take this video as just a funny story of my life and nothing against Italian people or Italian culture. Like, it is my fault I went to a country where I didn't know the language. I wasn't familiar with the culture and the customs and all of that. So yeah, let's get into this wild story. Everything sort of starts the night before our trip because my sister's trip to France and also our trip to Italy was, like I said, very much planned last minute. And before I knew that she was coming, before I knew we were going to Italy, I had planned a little pool hall night with my friends where we were going to go out and play pool and go to a bar and have a little fun night out. We planned to do this on a Thursday night, and the only available flight for my sister and I to take that was like affordable was Friday morning at 7 a.m. So in my delusional head, I was like, no problem. We'll go to the pool hall early. We'll come back early, get a good night's sleep, and no problem. We'll figure it out. And on top of that delusional thinking, I also decided that I wouldn't pack my bag until we got home from the pool hall. I was, kind of lazy about it. I was like, we could only carry a small carry-on onto the plane. And so I was like, it can't be that hard to pack a tiny little bag. I'll just do it when we get home in the evening, no problem. We go to the pool hall. We go to the bar. We're out with our friends until very, very late at night, like 1:30 a.m. We've had a couple drinks. We get home and it's like 2 a.m. And it clicks in my head all of a sudden that in order to make our 7 a.m. flight, we have to leave our house at 4 a.m. to get to the airport 2 hours early and make it on to the flight. And I just sat there, realizing I still had to pack my bag, realizing we had to leave the house in 3 hours. I just started to cry. I sat on the couch and I just started to cry, saying, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And my boyfriend and my sister were like, what do we do? What do we do about this? She needs to get her bag done. And so I eventually pulled myself together and got my things in this bag and just randomly put some outfits and was like, that's it. Lay down on the couch. For the first time in years, I didn't even take off my makeup. I was like, it's fine. I'll just get up in 2 hours and wear that makeup to the airport. Like, just a mess. This trip just really started out as a total mess. So 4 a.m., not even 4 a.m., sorry, 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. rolls around, our alarms go off, we get up, we call the Uber, we get in the Uber, we're driving to the airport, we get to the airport, and my sister and I are absolutely dead. Insert clip. Good morning. We're on the struggle bus today for our 7 a.m. flight. Yeah. We're gonna board soon. And I think this is more like a check-in, to show you how awful a 7 a.m. flight really is.
What time did we get up this morning, Arielle?
4 a.m.
No sleep. Another buzz. Another buzz.
Club.
No sleep. Plane.
Yeah, people are running. And yeah, soon it's us. So we'll see you in Bari.
Bye-bye.
Love it. Can you smile? I just don't know what went through our minds thinking that we would be fine to get on a 7 a.m. flight. Like, truly never again in my life will we do this. But anyways, we get on the plane. Immediately, we both zonk out. We are so tired. Once we arrive to the Bari airport, we realize we now have to get on 2 trains for about 2 hours in order to go from Bari to Molfetta, which is a little bit further down the coast. It was one of the smaller towns along this side of Italy. And we'd chosen Molfetta because we did want to go to the touristy places like the Instagram turquoise beaches, but we didn't want to stay there. We didn't want to stay in a place that would be crowded and expensive. We were looking for a more authentic experience, you could say, with the possibility of taking the train and visiting those more popular touristy cities. So 2 hours from the Bari airport to get to Molfetta, to get to the hotel. We arrive at maybe 1 p.m. We're not allowed to check in until 2. So we hand the receptionist of this 5-star hotel, okay, like bougie hotel, we hand them our €5 pink, like fluorescent pink bags. We're like, do you mind holding these for us and we'll just go sit at a cafe until we can check in? And they're like, yeah, no problem. It was just so embarrassing to walk into this hotel, makeup from the night before, not having brushed my teeth, absolutely exhausted, and just to hand them these ridiculous bags. But we went to a cafe, insert clip of my sister looking just defeated, and 2 p.m. rolls around. We finally get to check in the hotel. It's actually really nice. I will insert some clips of the hotel room and the view. It was actually very nice. We had a great view of the port. No complaints there, but we were so tired. We just decided to take a quick nap and then head out for dinner later on in the evening. And to us, dinner later on in the evening is Canadian time. Dinner is, I want to say 6:30 p.m. Me, because I live in Europe, I'm used to eating at 8:30 p.m. In Italy, they don't eat until 10 p.m. So we roll up to the restaurant at 8:30 thinking this is an appropriate time to dine, and the restaurant is completely empty. And we go up to the host or the waitress and we ask them if we can have a table. They're like, yeah, no problem, you can sit over there. It's a very nice little terrace and it's very cute. But no one in the restaurant speaks English very well. And because of that, I'm not sure if this is why, but no one would speak to us or answer our questions or be kind to us or, do any sort of service to our table. Like, we were very much ignored by the whole wait staff unless we got up and asked them to come over or unless we tried to get their attention. We were very much avoided like the plague, and it didn't feel so good. We're like, it's the first night, not a big deal. Like, we're probably tired and thinking more of it. And so we tell the waiter we're ready to have our order taken, and we're asking some questions about the dishes because it's not very clear what everything is. And I was gonna go with some sort of fried squid pasta dish, and then my sister was like, oh, well, what's the pasta of the day? And the waiter goes, it's a nice crab pasta. And we're both like, oh, we love crab, let's get that. And so we both ordered this crab pasta of the day. We're chatting, enjoying little apps that we ordered, and we see our pastas come out, and the first thing we see is that they have like crab cutters coming for us, and we're just like, oh no, did we order pasta with a whole crab on it? Like, we were not looking for that kind of adventure on the first night. We were looking for easy breezy pasta. And so the waitress like puts these claw breakers on our table. We're like, thanks. And by this time, it's probably 9:30, and so more people have arrived to the restaurant. We're sitting with some Italian families that are around, like, the tables beside us. And we're both just kind of sitting there contemplating the choice that we made because we already feel uncomfortable because we don't know the language or the culture, and so we don't want to do anything that looks awkward or weird. But we know that in order to eat this pasta, we have to get these crab things out and crush up this crab and eat with our hands, and it's a red sauce, and it's just such a mess. I just remember I cut the claw of the crab, and immediately the juice of that claw went on my face, on my dress, on the table. I was so embarrassed. And while we're eating this red sauce pasta and this crab with our hands, the gentleman at the table beside us turns to us and he's like, excuse me, I hear you're speaking English. You're not from here. Where are you from? And we're like, oh yeah, no, we're from Canada. And he goes, I see. What are you doing here? We're like, trying to have a vacation. He goes, not many tourists come to Molfetta, so we're just like wondering what you're doing. And we laughed off. We're like, yeah, that's why we came here. We were looking for that kind of experience, but you know, clearly it's already a mess and we're 5 hours in. 45 minutes later, after we have devoured this crab and pasta and there's red sauce literally all around us, we're finally able to flag the waitress down to get our bill. Like I said, they were completely avoiding our table, and we're sitting there like, we're so embarrassed, we're so tired, we just want to go home and sleep. So we finally flagged her down, got the bill paid, and went back to the hotel, and just boom, immediately we're asleep. The next morning, we decided that we wanted to get up really early, like 6:30 a.m. early, because we wanted to take the train a good 2 hours from Molfetta to Polignano, the very beautiful Instagrammable city. So we decided to get up early, go down to breakfast early, and I want to do a quick room tour of the hotel because I still had in my head that I was going to do a vlog of this video. So my sister goes down by herself and I'm, doing the room tour, and I go down and join her. We are the only people in the dining room. She at least has a very good table. She's got the best table with a great view. And I come down and look at the table, and there's like an entire ham, an entire ricotta, an entire mozzarella, poached eggs, a loaf of bread, cappuccinos. I'm like, what happened? How did all of this go on the table? We both read that it was a buffet continental breakfast, so we were expecting to be able to serve ourselves, But my sister's there, like, traumatized, wide-eyed. She's like, Arielle, he just came over and took my order, and I just ordered the first thing I saw, and I asked him if I could keep the menu and maybe order a little bit and order a little bit later if we're still hungry, and his answer was no. He took the menu.
I thought it was a buffet. I thought so too. It's a buffet where they serve you.
So as you can see, a lot of people in the hotel are early risers. But Olivia did a good job of ordering us some food. I also didn't even show you, but Olivia got the best view in the house. So pretty. And I was like, it's fine. This is a lot of food. I'm sure this is going to be good. But we were both kind of disappointed because we thought it would be like a nice continental buffet style breakfast, and just, again, like the same as with the restaurant the night before, the waiters of this continental served buffet breakfast completely ignored us. Like, they would not let us look at the menu again. It was kind of like a one-time shot. My sister ordering the first thing she could see. But we were fine because it was a lot of food, and, who's complaining about wonderful Italian salami and cheese and all that. So we finish up eating breakfast, we head out, we trek up to the train station, we get on the train, we go 2 hours on the train to get to Polignano, and it is a very beautiful city. Like, this really was gorgeous. As soon as you got into the city center, you had this beautiful view of the ombre water from light to turquoise to dark blue, and by the time we got there, it wasn't too crowded. We were very happy to be there. The start of this day was honestly really good. The problem is, though, remember I told you, first of all, we were only taking really tiny carry-on luggage, and also that I had packed my bag not 100% sober and at 2 a.m. I packed nonsense. I just threw random things in my bag, did not pack a charger, did not pack a bag. I packed one top. It was just, the wardrobe that we both had was a mess. Me, because I was just not thinking. And my sister, because again, they're these like 40 centimeter long bags, so you can't fit more than, I would say, 3 outfits. And so the problem is, this was a very beautiful city, very beautiful restaurants, and we couldn't fully enjoy that experience because we didn't have the wardrobe to enjoy that experience. Like, the only sandals I had were Birkenstocks, and the only bag I had was this plastic orange fluorescent and black string backpack. That is what we were walking around with, okay? And you'll see from the video clips, the restaurants are beautiful, the people are beautiful, the views are beautiful. If you're not beautiful, you feel awkward and you stand out, you know? And we also arrived at this beach wearing rompers. Keep in mind that I have a one-piece bathing suit. So we get to this beach and immediately we're like, well, where do we change? Because we are wearing one-piece outfits and I have to take off that one piece to then put on a one piece. We were just, well, this sucks. So we go to the very back of the beach. We're like hiding behind our towels, trying to get one romper off and like the swimsuit up. And we were finally able to get everything off. We already knew in our head that we're like, when we're done swimming, how are we even going to get back into our clothes? But we got changed finally. We head to the front of the beach and I knew in my heart, because I had gone to the sports store to pick up these tiny little bags and the string backpack. I knew that I should have also picked up water shoes because any beach along the south of Italy, of France, is a rock beach. It's very rare to have sand beaches. So I knew that it was going to be a struggle for us to get into the water if we didn't have water shoes. But I was like, it's fine. We'll just deal with it. We only have small luggage anyways. And we didn't get the water shoes. And what a mistake it was, because it took me a full 5 minutes of struggling, crying, almost hitting a woman, falling into the water to eventually be able to get far enough out to swim. It was such a mess. Once we were in the water, though, it was really nice. The water was warm. The colors were beautiful. The waves were just refreshing. Swimming was really nice, but big regrets to not have brought water shoes. Once we were done swimming, we really wanted to go eat at one of the picturesque, very cute restaurants along the waterfront. But again, we really felt like we looked like garbage. I had pulled my romper up halfway along my waist because I could not get the swimsuit off and then put the romper back on. I was just like, no deal. And we were covered in sunscreen. Our hair was completely knotted from the salt water. I had been hit by a wave, so I've got all of my mascara running down my face. And because, again, we had such few things that we brought with us, and also because we were not staying in this city, we didn't bring our whole luggage with us. We were there as we were. We couldn't change, we couldn't redo our makeup, we couldn't comb our hair. We were there with half of my romper on, our wet towels, our black and orange fluorescent backpack, makeup, messy hair. We were like, no way. There is literally no way we would be accepted in any of these restaurants. So we end up going to a cafe so we can use the washroom and have a little coffee and figure out how we're getting ourselves on a boat. Because even though it's quite a touristic thing to do, we wanted to do one of the little boat rides that go to the caves in Polignano, and there were thousands of 5-star reviews. There's so many people said that it was the highlight of their trip. So we really wanted to do that. Okay, so we just finished at the beach. We are enjoying an iced coffee at a cafe. And I think we are trying to work out how to get on a boat tour to tour the caves in and around Polignano. How would you rate the beach that we went to?
Very crowded.
The water was nice though.
The water was really warm, but it was so rough getting in.
Yeah.
Like a 8.5.
Yeah.
If it was morning and it was empty, we would do 11 out of 10.
And if we had water shoes, big mistake on my part, we did not bring water shoes. And so we're able to book it. Okay, my sister takes care of it. We're able to book it. And we want to make sure we're at the harbor for 2 or 3 p.m. They were debating on the time that the boat would leave. And we were like, yes, great, confirmed, we're going. Then we look at the map. And we see that to walk from the nice beach where we are to the harbor where the boat takes off, it is a 1 hour walk. And we're both like, you know what? That's not bad. We're in Italy. We'll see the coast. It'll be beautiful. Let's do it. And we start this walk, and it's okay, but it is in the beating sun. Like, beating. There are no trees. There is no shade for an hour. We are walking to this harbor in direct hot sun. Not just that, but it gets to a point very quickly where the cute little coastal path is finished and you get into an industrial area and you are walking on a literal highway. So we're there, we're halfway through this journey. We're like, well, we can't turn back now. We have to get on this boat. So we're walking, we're applying sunscreen, we're walking, and we get to the harbor and we're just done by this point. We're so hot, we just want to get on this boat. We walk right into the marina, and as we're going around, we slowly realize that something is wrong based on how people are acting, what they're wearing, and we look over at some signs and we're like, oh my gosh, this is a private marina. And we realized that when we walked in, we literally just like pushed through the gate, walked past the security, and didn't even say anything. And I don't think the security said anything to us because they could hear we're speaking English, and maybe they weren't confident in their English and didn't want to have like any confrontational situation. But as soon as we realized it was a private like yacht club, we were panicked. We're like, get us out of here. And so we can't even leave subtly. We have to ask the security guards to buzz us out because the gate locked behind us. And while we were talking to the security guards, we were like, oh, well, we have a boat trip planned. Gino told us to ask the security for him when we get here so we can get on this boat. And the security literally laughs. They're like, Gino confirmed with you that you're going on this tour. We're like, yeah, he said to be here for like 2 or 3 p.m. He's like, there is no way that Gino and his tiny little boat are leaving this marina. We're like, oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll see what he says. So we leave this marina harbor thing and we go to literally the only restaurant within this vicinity. Again, in my mind, I was like, it's not going to be a problem walking for an hour to get to this harbor because if this is where all of the tours take off, there's going to be touristy shops and restaurants and we're going to be able to sit and order coffee and maybe do some shopping. And it was the opposite of that. There was nothing. There was literally nothing. It looked like the most industrial place ever, except for the little marina harbor. That was a nice private place, but other than that, there was nothing. There was one restaurant. So we go to this restaurant, and as with literally every place we've been so far, not a soul spoke English. So, I mean, the waitress gave us a table, but again, we were completely ignored. Nobody wanted anything to do with us. No one wanted to take our order. Nothing. We were finally able to flag the waitress down after like 40 minutes of sitting at our table. Mind you, we did have an excellent view. Like, I'm not going to complain. The restaurant, even though it was poorly rated and the service was not great, the view was stunning. But we flag her down, we order some fried calamari, and we order some tiramisus, and we're like, we'll just have the fried calamari, and then we can have the tiramisus after. She's like, no problem. Oh, we also ordered €5 water, so that was fun. Anyways, as we're eating, we get a text from this famous Gino, and he goes, sorry, Olivia, we deleted the trip. Have a nice day. And my sister looks at me, and she's just like, we did not just walk an hour. No, we did not just leave the most beautiful beach I've ever seen to walk an hour on a highway to get to a marina and have our trip canceled. We were shocked. And of course, like, we understand, right? If the boat is small and it's not safe to go out, no problem. But we were just so defeated. We were defeated that we had wasted hours and hours to get to this place, and we weren't even able to do the experience we wanted. And we also knew in the back of our head that in order to get back to the train station, we had to walk all the way back on this beating hot highway. Like, all of that flooded into our mind. We're like, oh my gosh, let's just enjoy this tiramisu. Let's enjoy our final moments of peace before we head back. Again, it took the waitress. The waitress didn't even bring the tiramisus out, actually. It took a good hour of us sitting there drinking. I had a little beer and some water. But eventually I got up and I was like, hi. And I found all of the servers together, like chatting and stuff. And I was like, sorry to bother you. Do you think that we could have those tiramisus, and I was like, while I have your attention, let's also grab the bill. Like, we didn't want to wait another hour after the tiramisus to get the bill, so we had our tiramisus. They were actually pretty good. We got the bill, we paid, and we started our trek all the way back to the train station. We applied some more sunscreen, and honestly, it's really good that my sister and I were in high spirits because it was such a defeating situation. It was such a sad situation, truly, that we had wasted our entire day of a 3-day trip. We'd wasted almost an entire day on this Mission Impossible when we could have just been enjoying the beach and stuff. Mom, if we don't make it, we love you. Okay, but look, this
we'll be walking
this is the highway.
for an hour. We will be out here.
There's no shade, just heat.
No sleep, no shade, another train, no shade, none.
And we also felt so gross. This was probably the 5th time in the day that I had applied sunscreen. My hair was in a knot on the top of my head. I was just over it. But anyways, we finally get back to the train station. We hop on the train. We take the train for another 2 hours to get back to Molfetta. We hike back down from the train station to the hotel. And my sister's like, I am done. I need a shower. I need a nap. And then we'll go to dinner. And I'm like, I'm on the same page, but I feel like trash. At least my sister had packed a nice pair of sandals so she could wear her nice dresses with nice shoes. But I had packed Birkenstocks, okay? We are at this 5-star hotel, this 5-star experience, and I am wearing Birkenstocks with my dresses, and I also don't have a purse. I just have my Lululemon crossbody. I just looked and felt like a mess, and it was weighing on me. Like, it made me feel sad to be in this place and to feel embarrassed about how I looked. Like, it sucked. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna shower too, but then you have your nap and I will just do a little shopping. I'll see if I can find a cute and affordable purse and maybe a pair of shoes. Like, let's see what I can find. I was thinking, it's Molfetta, it's not touristy, it's gonna be affordable. Boy, was I wrong. I get to the shops and they're beautiful shops, right? Like, all the little purses and the jewelry and the shoes, everything is very cute and beautiful. That being said, it was also a little bit generic. Like, all of the items, while they were cute, they're kind of like the classic items that you would pick up in any coastal city, in any cute little shop, the kind of shop where they say, oh, everything is handmade, but you can find the same thing in every single store down the line. That's kind of like what this area was, except for the fact that every single thing was between 100 and 300 euros. And I was like, I cannot spend 200 euros on a wicker purse right now. Like, that is not what I'm looking for. And so I went into a good 10 or 15 stores, which were lovely. Like, they were very beautiful stores, but there was just no way I was going to drop 200 euros on a tiny little purse or clutch. It all made no sense to me. Like, I didn't even know how people who lived in Molfetta were affording these things. So I come back to the hotel room absolutely defeated. I didn't buy anything. I'm still wearing my Birkenstocks and I'm still wearing the one shirt. The one shirt I brought was a long sleeve crop top blouse and it's like 30 something degrees. Okay, so I'm wearing this long skirt with my Birkenstocks and this white long sleeve blouse. It was just, I really felt like such a mess. By the time I got back, it was maybe 8 p.m. and my sister had made us a little dinner reservation for 8:30. We understood that people didn't eat until 10 p.m., but we were so hungry and so tired from the day. Again, we just did not want to be out eating dinner at midnight, So she booked this reservation for 8:30 at a really nice restaurant. Like, we were very much looking forward to this restaurant. And so before we head over to that restaurant, we decided to go up to the beautiful, beautiful terrace. And we wanted to order some drinks before we left, but we were kind of like, we didn't get the server's attention in time and it was already like 8:15, so we figured that we didn't really have time to enjoy the very expensive rooftop cocktails. So when the waiter did finally come around, we were like, we're so sorry, we have a dinner reservation for 8:30. We're just gonna sit for maybe 5 more minutes, enjoy the view, and then we'll go to the restaurant. We're like, what time are you guys open till? Maybe we'll come back after the restaurant. And he literally looks at us in shock. And he looks at his watch. He's like, dinner, 8:30. That's way too early. And we're like, sir, we know. We know it's too early in this country, but we're so hungry. And so we leave the rooftop patio. We go to this really nice restaurant. And we are exactly 2 in the restaurant. Okay, this restaurant is entirely empty. There's a terrace, there's a middle room, and then there's a back room. And it is 0 people except for my sister and I. And so the waiter, who is actually for the first time very friendly, he speaks a little English, it's really nice, and he brings us to the very back of the restaurant at a table that is facing a wall. And we're like, oh, do you think we could maybe sit on the terrace? And he goes, oh, sorry, we're fully booked. And we're like, booked where? Like, who is here that's occupying the space on the terrace? We were like, we don't know if this is a tourist thing or if it's just a table for 2 kind of thing, but they truly put us at the worst table of the restaurant, all the way at the back facing a wall. And we were kind of disappointed because there was a beautiful terrace and the front room was really pretty. It just was like, why are we all the way back with the toilets in the kitchen and the bar? Like, why? But you know, we asked, they said no, so what are you gonna do, right? We sat down and we actually enjoyed a very nice dinner. It was a really, really good dinner. It was kind of like a steakhouse, so we had the antipasti, which was cheese and some meats and focaccia, and we had a salad and these interesting like fried meatballs, and then this beautiful, delicious steak came out, and overall it was really delicious food. But even though the waiter had been nice to us, again, just like with every single restaurant, we were completely ignored. It took us so long to get the bill and pay. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because when you're at a restaurant and you're feeling awkward and you're feeling ignored, you're feeling like you're irritating people, you don't really, and when you have a table that faces the wall, you don't really want to stay very long. You kind of want to enjoy your drink and eat and, you know, head back out because you don't feel welcome. And so it was awkward for us to finish our dinner and our drinks and no one come to the table to ask us if we needed anything or if we wanted the bill. It was just kind of just like, well, you know, I guess we'll just wait. And so finally they did end up giving us a bill and we headed out and we just went straight to bed. After the day of hiking in the sun, we were like, done. So we went to bed and we were just like, no, tomorrow morning we're sleeping in until at least 9. We're going to get a little sleep. So we woke up at 9, we got dressed and we went down to breakfast together this time. And there was a couple more people in the dining room, the vast majority of which were Italian. We could hear them talking. And we set a little table, we wait for the waiter to come over, and this time we know what we're doing. We know that we're not just ordering the first thing on the menu, we're gonna make a selection of all the things we'd like to try. And so we give him our order and the server disappears for I don't know how long. The thing is, we were super thirsty. Like the first thing normally I do when I wake up is I have a giant glass and a half of water, and because this breakfast was not buffet like we thought, because everything was served, the waiters had to serve you your food, your coffee, and your water. At least that's what we thought, because we're sitting there parched, waiting for someone to come, waiting for someone to look at us, waving them over, because again, you're also on a 5-star dining breakfast. You don't want to get up and wiggle your way through all of these tables, especially me, given the fact that I was wearing like athletic clothing and Birkenstocks. You don't really want to get up in front of everyone and like try and call the waiter over. So we're sitting there like parched, coughing on our own saliva, like waiting for them to give us some water. And we look over at the Italians beside us, like a table of 3, a mom, a dad, and their child. So one more than us. And they had jugs of water on their table for them. Like that was the first thing the server brought over for them. We're like, okay, well, I guess it's because we're at table 2, or maybe again, just like with every other restaurant, people are ignoring us. It gets to a point where we're just so thirsty that I get up and I walk myself over to the little water fancy stand and I take the water and I bring it over and I give my sister and I a glass and I go and put the water jug back. And it was awkward and it sucked. It felt like we were getting ignored. We weren't getting the treatment that we had, you know, essentially paid for. We weren't getting the same treatment as other people. It felt like it sucked, to be honest. And then to add to that feeling of rejection and people just really not caring at all about your experience. We ordered something very similar. We ordered the same thing as the Italian people beside us. We both ordered, it was like this dish called a selection of the chef's pastries, cakes and pastries. And he brings out for the Italians first, and it's like these giant pieces of cake for everyone, and it looks delicious. I mean, it definitely looked like a lot of sugar, but it looked huge and beautiful and delicious. And he brings out our little pastries, and they're just like these 2 little stuffed pastries. And they were very good, but it was just like, we are getting like not even close to the same treatment as the Italians who, you know, were sitting right beside us. So we left the breakfast. We felt uncomfortable. We felt like we were a burden to the wait staff. We felt like we were being annoying. Not that we were being annoying, like we were truly sitting there in silence. We finished up eating. We're both very eager to get out of that kind of awkward situation where we feel uncomfortable and unwanted. And we split up for the day because I wanted to go see the city of Giovinazzo, which was a 5-minute train ride from Molfetta. So I get on the train, I head over to Giovinazzo, and it is a ghost town. It is an absolute ghost town. And at this point, it is a little bit annoying. It's definitely getting annoying that everything in Italy is closed until 7 p.m. Like, the city is closed until 7 p.m. There are a couple exceptions, but it's really not like Paris or other bigger European cities that I've been to where you do have bars and restaurants and shops open during the day. Like, of course, there is a lunch break from maybe 12 to 1 or 1:30, but after that in the afternoon, things do reopen. But again, for the third day, what we're finding is that literally everything is closed from noon until 7 p.m. Everything. And the reason why this just affected us is because there's nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you to do. Nowhere for you to eat. We were thinking we'd like to have a little late lunch, have a coffee. Nothing was open. And maybe it was just the cities we were visiting. Maybe it's just Molfetta and Giovinazzo. But I'm walking through the city and I'm just so over it. I'm like, I want to go into a shop. I want to have a coffee. I want to do something other than walk in the beating sun. I was just so over it. And I finally get to the beach and I find the entire population of Giovinazzo, you know, out enjoying the water and stuff. And there's a couple restaurants along the waterfront that are open, but 0 stores, 0 bars. And at this point, I'm so hot. I did not bring a bathing suit. I did not bring a towel. I literally have a water bottle, sunscreen, and that string backpack. I look like a mess, okay? Again, I keep saying I look like a mess, but that's just the thing. You put on sunscreen, you sweat, your makeup gets a little bit runny, your face gets dirty, your hair is a mess. It just, when you're traveling with such few items, you just feel like you look a mess, or that you look like a mess faster and most of the time. So I didn't feel comfortable walking into any of the beach clubs. Like, there was a couple beach clubs along the coast and there was a little bar, and I didn't feel comfortable or excited to go into any of these places because, number one, again, no one spoke English, and the way that people looked at you was either completely ignoring you or like there's something wrong with you. And this is what I'm saying. I don't want people, like, I don't want this to offend Italians or this come off as me if like insulting Italians, because, you know, I get it. Living in Paris, I'm not a huge fan of tourists either, but it just, like, the whole time people ignoring at us and looking at us like we don't belong really made us feel crappy. Just like, why did we even come here? So I passed all these beach clubs, I passed this bar, I passed everyone looking at me or ignoring me. It sucked. And I finally find this little stairway and I head down to this mini little cove, and I decide that I'm going to go swimming because I don't have a bathing suit, but I am wearing a bodysuit, which is basically the same thing as a bathing suit. So I take off my jeans and I put my book on the rock with my little bag and my water bottle, and I head in, I slide in to the water. This time, not only are the rocks pointy, not only are there crabs everywhere, but they're also very slimy. So it's like slipping and sliding into the water. Again, absolute regret that I did not bring water shoes. But I did have a really refreshing swim. It was a very beautiful little cove. Even though I didn't get to stay at one of the beach clubs or enjoy a little couple hours at the beach clubs, the rock that I found was nice, and it was definitely relaxing and calming to go for a little swim. Again, though, because I had no sense of planning or no sense of preparation for this trip or for this day, I hadn't packed a towel. So as soon as I got out of the water, I had to put my jeans back on. I was wet and salty and sunscreeny, and I had to get back on the train, and I got back to Molfetta and back to the hotel, and my sister got back as well. So we decided we're just gonna have a chill final night. We're just gonna enjoy drinks and tapas on the rooftop of the hotel. And we wanted to do this because the whole day we could see that they were setting up for some sort of event right below the hotel on the port. And we were just like, great, we can enjoy the drinks and listen to whatever concert is there or whatever event is going on down below and just have a really nice night. And so this was probably the highlight of our trip, to be honest. Like, this evening, we felt like staying in a non-touristy city like Molfetta was, worth it for this one night. But we have our drinks and we're enjoying our tapas, and the sun is setting and it is absolutely beautiful. And all of a sudden, this sort of evening mass starts, being performed. And there's chairs for people to sit, and there's just the whole religious procession of people, and there's prayers, and there's beautiful choir music playing. It just feels, it's a very awe-inspiring thing to see. The service lasts about an hour and a half. We're drinking our drinks and having our little tapas. And then we see a band start to come up, and all of the religious figures, they were kind of color-coded. They had like red, green, blue, yellow outfits, and they started to line up and form a procession. And the barman came over and he explained to us that every year they celebrate the death of this saint who had become very wealthy and had given all of this wealth back to the poorer people of Molfetta. He never forgot where he came from, Molfetta, and so they celebrate the death day of this saint, and it's like a huge mass and a procession that goes through the entire city all the way to the church. And again, it was a very awe-inspiring thing because after the mass, after the choir singing, there was a band that led the procession, and as the procession is going, you have the priest who is giving prayers through a microphone. You can hear it all throughout the city. Yeah, it was just a very culturally significant moment that we got to experience, and we were, again, the only foreigners in this city. There's no way there was any other tourist. It really felt like we were privy to some sort of secret ceremony. It was a very, very cool experience. And once the procession had gotten to the church, they actually had a little firework display as well, so we got to watch that. And by this point with my sister, we were feeling very close. We're like, we just experienced this crazy trip together. We got a pizza, we found a little market. Again, it's midnight, right? It's midnight, the market opens. So we find a little market, and we buy ourselves these little friendship bracelets to remember this crazy trip that we did together. And we, just laughed it off and had a really nice evening together. And we went to bed pretty early because my flight was at 8 a.m. So I really hope I was able to communicate the chaos and the craziness of this trip. Like, from A to Z, this whole trip was just a wild experience, and we laughed off the whole time. But what I will say as sort of a conclusion to this video is that it was very emotionally and physically challenging to travel to Italy when we had no comprehension of the language, customs, or cultures. We were frustrated by the schedule. We were very frustrated by the fact that nothing was ever open. We really had nothing to do in the day except for walk in the heat or go to the beach. we were sad and disappointed that everyone, almost every single person we met, whether it was at the hotel or a restaurant or the marina, people just completely ignored us at all costs, you know? And I don't know if it was in a malicious way, like, oh, we don't want to deal with these tourists, or if it was just intimidating because we don't speak Italian and they don't speak English. But it sucked. It really sucked to have this feeling of being completely unwanted and irritating people and being confused by what's going on and not knowing how to do things in a country where you just are so lost. And I think as well, like, if I could redo this trip, I would really pay the extra money. It was like 60 euros extra to check a bag. I definitely would have paid that, because a big part too of feeling so crummy, on top of everything I already mentioned, was that we just did not have the proper outfits for this trip. We didn't have the proper outfits to be at the hotel we were at. We didn't have the proper outfits to be in the beautiful restaurants we were at. I say we, but like my sister had shoes and nice dresses. I really didn't have an appropriate wardrobe for this trip, and I made it work, but it just made me feel worse. It made me feel kind of bad to not look good or look the way that I would like to look on vacation at a really nice restaurant or hotel. So yeah, I think in the future I would definitely check a bag and bring things that would ensure that I would have a better time, like a nice big wicker bag that would look classy enough to store all of my things, makeup, hairbrush, towels, dresses, so that when we went to a city like Polignano, for example, after we went to the beach, we could fix ourselves up and look presentable enough to go to a restaurant, you know? So we definitely learned a lot on this trip, and even if it was chaos and uncomfortable and challenging sometimes, my sister and I really did have a good time together, laughing it all off. So at the end of the day, it was worth it. It was funny, and we have great memories, honestly, from this trip. I was like, Olivia, honestly, this is a trip we will never forget. I will never forget walking on the highway back to the train station. Like, just, I'll never forget that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a long one, but I thought it'd be fun to tell the story and also give a different perspective of, you know, the dream Italian south of Italy vacation. I feel like everything on TikTok and Instagram is just so picture perfect, and then you go there and you kind of expect the same thing and you're confronted with all of these challenges. So yeah, I hope this was like an interesting and funny way to tell you about what the real experience is when you go to a country where you know nothing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you guys in my next video.